What's up, y'all? It's your girl Cole with the Kommon Sense Podcast, and I am back with a new video after a long hiatus. And I do mean long, but I ain't going nowhere. I'm back. Kommon Sense Podcast is back. And so today's episode, I am doing a recap as a newly introduced fan of Bridgerton. Yes, the Bridgerton that's been out since maybe 2023. Okay. Yeah. Your girl been crawling and living under a rock when it came down to Bridgerton. Now, when this show first came out, I seen it. I saw the buzz. I saw the hype. I was like, I'm not interested in that shit. I'm not interested in that. Like, I'm not. Even when Queen Charlotte came out and I saw all on TikTok that the queen was black and all the clips and the clickbait and all of that stuff, I still was not interested in watching this show. It wasn't until a few weeks ago that I was introduced into Bridgerton and was told, okay, to watch Bridgerton. And I said, you know what? I'm going to watch it. I was told which order to watch it in, and I did exactly that. And when I tell you I got caught up, hooked up, snatched, clutch my pearls. The first episode of season 1, I was hooked. I realized that it had four seasons. Excuse me, it had 4 seasons. Normally, when a show has more than 1 season, more than 2 seasons, I'm not interested in recapping. I'm not interested in catching up. I'm not interested in doing none of that stuff. But it hooked me, and I was so gravitated to it. The first episode of season 1, I was like, I'm going to watch this. And I finished all 4 seasons of it and Queen Charlotte in 1 week. I binge watched that, okay? And it was so good. So if you're a newbie to Bridgerton, if you just got introduced to Bridgerton, or you just want to hear my thoughts as a late bloomer to Bridgerton, stay tuned, okay? We are introduced to the Bridgertons. This is, do I want to say they are them? Okay, I would say they are like, they're the richest family in the ton. The ton is the high society. So it's the people who, if you know somebody, you know somebody, you can't mess with them. They the people who pretty much runs the society because they are the Bridgertons, right? So we introduced to Bridgertons, the high society Bridgertons. The mom is Violet Bridgerton. The dad is Edmund Bridgerton, but at this moment she is a widow. Her husband passed away, and we'll see how he passed away later on in the seasons. And she has several kids, okay? And they're in alphabetical order of kind of like the story of them. And so the first son is Anthony, not Anthony. Okay, you know how we say Anthony, not Anthony, is Anthony Bridgerton. It is Benedict Bridgerton. It is Colin Bridgerton. I'm thinking to myself. And then it's Daphne Bridgerton. Then it's Eloise Bridgerton. Then it's Francesca Bridgerton. Then we have Gregory Bridgerton. And then lastly, Hyacinth Bridgerton. So this lady got 5, 6, 7, 8. She has 8 kids, okay? And they're all Bridgertons. Now, the Bridgertons are like under like the king and queen. They're like a title-ish under the king and queen, maybe 2 titles under the king and queen. So they say they really big shit. They are really big shit, okay? And so we're introduced to Anthony. We're introduced to the whole entire Bridgertons. And at this time, the Queen Elizabeth, Queen Charlotte, she is looking for her diamond. Okay. She is looking for her diamond. And what that means is that she is basically introducing society, the ton, to this diamond, to this person who she considers to be wealthy enough, worthy enough to be married. And it can be a man or a woman, but in this season, it is Daphne, Bridgerton. Okay. She goes before with her mother to the queen, and the queen kind of like looks at her. She done saw all these other people, all these other, girls and they mothers, and they getting themselves together, and they're trying to, impress the queen. And Daphne and her mother comes, and the queen pretty much says she's flawless. Like, this is my diamond. Okay. So since the queen has kind of like king, king, Daphne as like the diamond of society, she is the it girl. Everybody wants her. All of the available men, all the eligible bachelors wants Daphne Bridgerton. Okay. She wants to get married. This girl want to get married. She want to have kids. She want to have all of, like, right away. I'm talking about like quick, fast, and in a hurry. ASAP Rocky. This girl want to have all of this right away. In comes the Duke of Hastings. Okay. Duke of Hastings. We learned of his story again later in season 1 on why he is the way that he is. Okay. Now this man right here, if I can describe him to you, and y'all seen Bridgerton, those that seen Bridgerton, y'all know. This man right here, he is tall. He is very handsome. He exudes just power when he walks into a room. Okay. The initial thought from Daphne of the Duke was nothing. She didn't see nothing of him. She didn't like him. She didn't think nothing of him. But he is a friend, real good friend of her brother, Anthony. Okay. Her older brother, Anthony. Now, I'm going to go back a little bit. Anthony is Lord Bridgerton. That is his title. He is Lord Bridgerton. He runs the Bridgerton house. Okay. Everything he says, whatever he says, it goes, even to his mother. Okay. See, I couldn't be in that era, because it ain't no way that Jarrell Dominique Joseph, Lord Joseph, is going to tell me how to run my house and my kids. But that's how it was back in the day. The men ran the house. They ran pretty much the society. Women really didn't have a voice. But he was still very respectable. But anyways, back to Daphne. Daphne was not interested in the Duke at all until she had got courted, or her brother made some type of arrangement with this creepy looking guy. Okay. He was of wealth. He was of status. However, she didn't want that. That's not who she wanted. And so her and the Duke became friends and foes. They became like this. This is my experience of watching this show and what I took from it. They were foes and now they're friends. And so they decided to pretend as if he was courting her. Now, back in the day, when men show interest in a woman, that kind of like makes the other men kind of back off. So she was okay with that. She was like, hey, let's pretend that we're not together, or let's pretend that we are together so that these other mofos can just like back up and leave me alone. And so that's what they did. What they didn't know is that they would fall in love, and they fell in love. Duke of Hastings, Daphne Bridgerton, both with status, fell in love. Okay. We get into the story of the Duke of Hastings and how he grew up. He grew up with the title. His dad was Lord Hastings, Duke of Hastings, or Lord Hastings, I believe. And he wanted a son. Now, what really kind of pissed me off was the scene when he was born and the dad had no interest in the mom and how she was doing and all that other stuff. And she was starting to bleed a lot, and he didn't care. He wanted to know if it was a son, if it was only a son, and that was it. And when the doctor told him that it was a son, he took the son and was praising, I have a son, the Duke of Hastings, I have a son. And the mom died at childbirth with bleeding, with heavy bleeding. And so we are also introduced at that same time to Lady Danbury. Okay, Lady Danbury is kind of like becomes the godmother to the Duke of Hastings. And so she sees that this man, the father, Lord Hastings or Duke Hastings or whatever. He don't give a shit about the mom, and the mom dies. And so she takes it upon herself to make sure that this kid is wanted. So we find out that the Duke of Hastings have a speech impediment. Okay, he stutters. He don't know how to pronounce his words. He is very nervous when he talks. So the dad pretty much like shuns him. He don't want nothing to do with him. He calls him an imbecile. He calls him an idiot. He don't want to have nothing to do with him. He's not a duke. He wants to keep up this status and all this other stuff. And Lady Danbury takes this kid under her wings and pretty much says, I got you. And so throughout the season, we learned the story of the Duke of Hastings, and it's a pretty sad one. Okay. Back to them getting together. So they get together. They're prancing around the ton. They're prancing around the, society as if he's courting her, and they end up falling in love. So we're fast forwarding to, okay, they're now together. Lady Danbury, who is his godmother, technically, and Violet Bridgerton sees this potential. They're both for status again. So them two, the godmother and the mother, plans to get them together, not knowing that they already have a plan themselves. Daphne and Lord Hastings, Duke Hastings, have a plan themselves. Okay. And so they end up falling in love, and they realize, hey, we weren't faking at all. Like, we love each other. The whole entire ton see that we love each other. So let's just go ahead and get married. So they get married. And to his discourse, he does not want to get married, but he gets married anyway. At first, he did not propose to her. And back then, I did realize that if you are courting someone, you immediately have to propose to them. It's like, damn, can you give me a moment to think about it? Like, maybe I was drunk. Maybe I had a cut water. Maybe I had, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I was a little loose, you know what I'm saying, at the mouth. When, like, can I give you some time? No. Back in the day, when you court someone, you immediately have to propose to them. And it was kind of like a slap in the face if you didn't propose to them, propose to the woman right away. So it was just kind of crazy that, she was expecting for the Duke, not knowing his history and his story on why he was waiting so long. She wanted him to propose to her right away and have kids and da. When he finally proposed, they finally got married. They immediately started having sex. One thing I learned about these people, this show, baby, the sex scenes, if that cringes you, don't watch it. I say watch it, but close your eyes. You know how your mama used to make you close your eyes when sex scenes came on? Yeah, just close your eyes like a kid, because they be getting it on in this show. Okay, they get it on wherever. Okay, wherever. I ain't never seen no crap like this. But they immediately start to try for a child. And she noticed that, or I had noticed that he was not leaving the kids in. Okay, I'm gonna just say that. He wasn't leaving the kids in. He wasn't dropping the kids off at the babysitter. He was taking them out, pulling them out. And she didn't know. She was a virgin, so she didn't know how this process worked. How do you get pregnant? It wasn't until she had a conversation with someone, I can't remember who it was, but she had a conversation with someone, and they were telling her how, sex work, how does intercourse work, and how do you get, pregnant? Because she was not figuring out. We've been every day, sometimes multiple days, sometimes multiple times a day, and I'm not pregnant yet. Now, mind you, there's no birth control back then. Okay. So the first time, you liable to probably already be pregnant. Okay. You're probably already liable to be pregnant. So she couldn't figure out why she was not pregnant until she had a conversation with somebody and they told her how it works. So the next time that they, had it, she flips him over. Now, mind you, during the whole time, like, he is on, he's missionary, like he's on, on top of her. And that's how he's able to not drop the kids off at the babysitter. And I'm paraphrasing here. Okay, y'all get what I'm trying to say. And so this time she said, I got something for you. I'm going to flip you over and I'm going to be on top. That way you cannot not drop your kids off at the babysitter. Okay. You're going to leave them jokers right there where they at. This is after hours and that's where we going. Okay. And that's what we're going to do. And that's exactly what she did. So when she did that and he dropped them off at the babysitter, she got up and he realized what she did. And that's when they get into this heated argument about, he lied to her and he was like, he didn't want no kids. He always told his father that he would never have an heir to his throne or none of that stuff, but now that he sees her in a different light, he's willing to, like have kids. But by this time she's pissed because one thing about the Bridgertons and about women back then, you don't lie to them. When you lie to them, it's all over with, especially a Bridgerton, because she has other suitors. Mind you, she has other suitors. So they decided that, hey, we just gonna continue on as we is, but I'm not saying nothing to you. You don't say nothing to me. I'm not sexing you. You not sexing me. And we just gonna keep it a book. Okay. That's how we gonna do. But in the meantime, in between time, it was always this passionate, like, attraction. And then detraction, attraction and detraction from each other. And so it was just a lot of that going on. And it was cute because she really was trying not to be like, not to F with him. And he was really trying not to F with her, but they really loved each other. And so he just gave up. He said, you know what? You are my lady. You are the future Duchess of Hastings. And I want to do this with you. And so they decided that they were just going to just say, F it. We're going to get married. We already married. We're going to go ahead and have this kid. And she ends up pregnant. And so he becomes a father. Despite him not wanting to have a kid at all because of his upbringing with his dad and how his dad treated him. They have a kid. And so now they're getting ready to start living their life, go on their honeymoon. And yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot for them. Those are the two kind of like main characters for the season. Is them two, is Daphne Bridgerton and Simon, the Duke of Hastings. But you still see different stories of the Bridgertons. You get introduced to the other families that's in the tons. You get introduced to the Featheringtons. You get introduced to the Coppers, who's like the messy family. Like they are like really like at the bottom of the totem pole, but they still are in the society. You get introduced again to Lady Danbury, and you figure out that she kind of like is the queen's like left and right, front and back woman. And she's very respectable in that sense. And it's just an overall good show. Like I really love it. I love the most funniest part. I didn't even, God, Kabrina, I didn't even I need to be writing this stuff down. I got my iPad right here and I'm not even looking at it. I got my notes right here and I'm not even looking at it, but you have Dearest Gentle Reader. Okay. So Lady Whistledown. Lady Whistledown is like the shade room. Okay. She's the shade room. She's the Hollywood Unlock. She's the Tasha K's. She tells all the business. Okay. And she tells all the business in a newsletter. It's called the Whistledown, the Lady Whistledown. And so she has like these little paper boys going around and they get their little money for passing out the Lady Whistledown. And she tells everybody's business. Okay. We don't know who Lady Whistledown is. All we know is that she knows everybody's business. And you should be prepared to be in Lady Whistledown if you got gossip, if you got scandal, if you got anything going on in your family. She will find out. And the queen loves Lady Whistledown. She loves a good gossip, okay? And she loves to see it printed. And so, when Lady Whistledown is putting out all of this gossip, she's so like tickle pink by it. She loves it. And yeah, so the scandal, I think, for most of the season was that you had some guys, some men who were sleeping with mistresses, had their own like mistress and paying them. You had some who had overdue balances on debts that they didn't pay. You had people who were just doing just crazy stuff, and it was in the whistle down. And if you was in the whistle down, you might want to run out of society. But I love the Lady Whistledown concept. It is narrated, or the voice of Lady Whistledown is the same lady from Sound of Music. God, I cannot remember. I see her name in my mind. Oh my God, I see her name in my mind. Julie Andrews. Jesus Christ. Yes, doe, a deer, a female deer. Yes, Sound of Music. Julie Andrews is the narrator, is the voice of Lady Whistledown. And so throughout the whole entire seasons of Bridgerton 1 through 4, there's a Lady Whistledown. However, okay, Lady Whistledown is exposed later on in the seasons of Bridgerton. And we gonna get to that once I get to that season. And when I tell you, I was like, oh, no way, that cannot be. No way she is Lady Whistledown. Like, no way. It's pretty good. But that is my recap on Bridgerton season 1. Like I said, I have my notes right here. I didn't even look at it. I gotta figure out a way to really like look at my notes. Maybe have my iPad right here. I don't know, but it's really good. If my recap didn't interest you into watching Bridgerton, please do watch it anyway, because that was just my take. It was really, really good. Again, the main couples is the Duke of Hastings and Daphne Bridgerton. We are introduced to all of the families in the ton. The main family that is kind of like up there is the Bridgertons, and we get to see little bits and pieces of each one of the kids' stories throughout Bridgerton seasons. And right now we are on Anthony Bridgerton and Daphne Bridgerton, the Bridgertons period. And yeah, it's a really good show. This is also created, produced, some written by Shonda Rhimes, who also did Grey's Anatomy. She did How to Get Away with Murder, I believe. She also did the movie Scandal. She did that too. So Shonda Rhimes, yeah. And again, I saw this out years ago, back in 2023, and I was never interested in watching it. Sorry. But now I want everybody to watch it. I got my mama watching it. My mom is starting to watch it, and she's hooked. So, hey, better late than never. That is my take on season 1 Bridgerton. Stay tuned for season 2 recap. And dearest gentle Rita, until next time,